Yo, what up, people? Welcome to another episode of the Elevated Audio Podcast.
Start over again. Sorry. Hold on. Start because my shit was like lagging for a second, so I don't know if it caught the very beginning of what you were saying.
Way to fuck my up. Way to fuck me up.
I know. It would have been worse if it's like
change your animated background. It looks like
Chris's favorite. That's why I picked it.
Yeah, you look like you're in a
throwback,
penthouse,
man.
man.
It's on my boy's taste
throwback
right now.
Microsoft Paint, man.
it looks like you're in a Sims apartment.
Perfect.
This
Even
is
better.
the episode.
Right.
All right, let's start. Yo, welcome to the Elevated Audio Podcast. I'm your host, Roj Elevate. This is my co-host,
Chris Audio. I'm still alive, even though we haven't recorded in a little bit.
Yeah, we're back at it. Excited for this episode. We're bringing back one of our best guests, one of our favorite guests, my man Tr3bel. Say what up to the people, Tr3bel.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be back here, bro. Y'all know the last time we had a very transformative conversation. I look forward to the same thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. And got my assistant, my secretary, Cybil Marks. Say what's up to the people, Cybil.
What's up, people?
So today, I know I usually don't introduce the topic, but today we're talking about tributes in hip hop, tributes, concepts, people, whatever, just tribute songs. So that's gonna be where we're directing our attention to today. So make sure you follow us on IG, on Facebook. Leave comments. Let us know what you want to hear, what you thought about each episode, and get in the flow, get connected with us.
And don't forget to subscribe, no matter what, no matter where you listen to this. Honestly, just subscribe, man. If it's YouTube, subscribe there and like this and comment and share it and do everything to give us as much attention as possible.
Yes.
And subscribe if you listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, blah, 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 blah. Subscribe, whatever, wherever you're at.
Yes, definitely get on the podcast game, everybody. That's the wave, and this is going to be one of the biggest podcasts out there, so get on it now.
You know it. Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start. I'll give out my first tribute that I got. And this tribute is from Talib Kweli, and it was to Lauryn Hill. We all know who Lauryn is.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Lauryn is, you should probably not watch our podcast.
This might not be the podcast for you.
It might not.
Yeah, just a little over your head.
Like, what made you click play? If you know.
Nah, what made you be bored? Because Lauryn Hill is the great, like, she's the queen, man. Like, man.
She up there.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, you need to hear that. You need to hear that.
Power.
Facts. And this song is called Miss Hill from Talib Kweli, and it's just, it's just a tribute to Miss Hill about, what she's done for hip hop, being a strong Black woman, upholding, characteristics of a real great woman, and just propelling our culture forward with knowledge and inspiration.
Yeah, man. I think it's always dope when you have great MCs that tribute stuff to other great MCs, because it just puts into perspective just how great our overall culture can be affected by somebody just making good music. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes so long. That goes such a far away. And the message and the energy behind the music is what really resonates with people. And Lauryn Hill, she'll always her legacy will echo throughout time. She's one of those people.
Oh, no doubt.
Definitely.
And it's kind of crazy that, I think that's her only solo album, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I believe.
Yeah, to my knowledge.
And and that it has been cemented now. It's been out for almost 20 plus years now. Mm-hmm. It's one of the best albums ever, and it maybe maybe it was by design that was the only solo album she put out. Where maybe it's such an incredible piece of art that why screw up potentially,
Yeah.
mess up the legacy of that by maybe having a follow-up album that doesn't really hold up, or isn't up to that standard. You have that one, you're one for one, you're perfect on, the only album that you put out solo. And and it's, like I said, it's an incredible piece of art. So why mess with that?
Definitely.
It's like going, it's like an athlete, like winning the championship and then just retiring after that. It's like, you know what? Nothing's ever going to measure up to this feeling, like right here. So let me just bow out while I can.
Right.
Yeah. See, I know people who think like that. I couldn't think like that. I gotta go get another ring at least once.
I think that's what happens to most athletes, actually, because most athletes, there's like a hunger that just like, that it just resets. You win a championship and then that hunger resets. Like, no, we got to do this again next year.
So let me ask a
And I think
question.
it's the same thing but I think it's also the same thing with artists too. I think that, you have so much, creativity like oozing, and you're just like, you put out a project and you're like, I love this project, but you know what? I really think, and the thing is with with albums, there is not necessarily a championship. I guess a Grammy would constitute as that, right?
Yeah.
But even with that, let's say hypothetically you won a Grammy for an album, right? Which is amazing anyway. But in most artists' minds, I know for me, no matter what happens with any project I put out, no matter what kind of accolades or anything, I know in my mind, I'm like, you know what? My next one's going to be even better.
Oh, you have to. I look at every song as another challenge. Like the song I'm making right now has to be better and greater than the song.
Exactly.
I'm only good as my last song, and I don't just look at it as music. I look at it as my life. Like I'm always competing. I'm always competing against yesterday.
Your past self, yeah.
Right.
So let me ask this. So for somebody like Lauryn Hill who drops an album that's at that pinnacle, do you think that because she has that same drive as us to be better, that might have caused her to not write anymore because she might have put herself in an awkward position, putting a little too much out there? You ever think that might be the case?
Maybe, but I would say with someone like that, I wouldn't say if I had to bet money on it, if like we're like sitting here saying like, okay, if we're obviously none of us know her personally, right? So if we just had to like guess, I would guess, me personally, that she, in her mind, she just has so many different ideas of what she wants to do with her career and life that I think she just shifted her focus. I think if she really, really wanted to like outdo that project, I feel like she would put in the work and do that. I think she's just focused on other things.
And you got to understand.
I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just
understand the level she's at too. Like she's at a whole different. Like she's already, even before the album, she's already a legend. You know what I mean? So
you look at what she did with the Fugees. Like.
Yeah.
The score is also in its own right a classic album,
Bruh. Yes. Like I still listen to that shit, man. I ain't even gonna lie, bruh.
So it's like, hey, you already accomplished, like you put out an amazing piece of art as a group, as part of a group, and you put out an amazing piece of art as a solo artist. Maybe that aspect of her career maybe it's not the end all be all, where for some artists it is, they just want to put out projects, and everyone's just kind of different, in that way. But who knows, man? I'd be very curious to find out why that, like, she has never followed that up, with another solo effort.
When I blow up, I'll tell you.
I know. Ask her for me, please.
I got you.
He's funny.
So well, speaking of albums, what you working on anything right now, Tr3bel?
Actually, yeah, I got I got one project since we talking about it. I'll go ahead and make the announcement.
Plug
I
it
kind
in.
of hinted at it a little officially before, but I got an EP coming up here very soon. I ain't gonna give an official date, but it's gonna be called The Pressure. It's been 6 years since I actually dropped a project, and it's been worth the wait, I think, for the people. I got so much shit that I done recorded that I got recording still, but for the people that know me, they know I'm really anal about like the creative process of the music. So it takes time for me to get it anal, as they say, you're your own biggest critic. So it took me a couple of years officially to get this thing lined up. But man, when I tell you what I got in store coming here soon, man, I, I'm just ready to see everybody else's reaction, to be honest, man.
That's like, bro, that's like the greatest anticipation. Like you work so hard on this art, and it's like when you listen to it, it touches your soul. And the next step from that, the next elated feeling from that is what is how you think other people are gonna feel when they hear the shit that makes you feel like this. Because it's all about the feeling, right?
Right, right.
That's so exciting when you think, yo, I can't wait. I just want to know. Like sometimes I feel like I want to be that person in their body when they listen to my shit, so I can see what they're feeling when they hear my shit. Because I know how I felt when I made it, and I know how I felt when I listened to it. And it's like, oh shit, yo,
yeah.
I don't know.
The thing is, like, you could make a song, right? And while you're making that song, or when you finish that song, you hear the final mix for the first time. Like, yeah, you're gonna be excited about it, but you've also heard it like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You know, because you were working on it.
Exactly.
Like sometimes when I play someone my shit, and it's like, their first response is like, wow, this is dope, like, wow, this is incredible, or whatever compliment I get. I kind of wish the same thing that you just said. Like, I wish I could like be in their body and like hear my
Actually
shit with
feel
fresh ears, like
Right.
with like no preview, nothing, or not,
Yeah.
without knowing what the creation process was. You know,
Yeah.
without being there when I was making the beat and conceptualizing it and getting it, recording it, or whatever. You know,
Yes.
I wish that man, I wish there was a way to like
Feel that.
just for like a second, if we had that ability, just like, okay, this is what it's like to hear it with fresh ears.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
bro.
another thing you said, Tr3bel, when you were like, you said you don't want to put a date on it, and then after that you said something about pressure. I was like, because that's what I thought when you said putting it, because when you put a date on something, especially art that's coming from the inspiration, you put pressure on yourself. And I feel like us as artists, we shouldn't really. Well, it's kind of a catch-22 because setting deadlines for goals, it pushes you to get it done, but at the same time, it could also cause some.
Stress.
Well, that's also why most artists, I mean, I don't want to, I'm kind of generalizing, but there is something to this statement where for a lot of artists, their second album does not measure up to their first album.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because the old expression is
Electronica like that, bro. No, I'm saying.
I wasn't putting anyone specific on it. Cool. But they say that you have your whole life to make your first album, right? So inevitably that is going, for most people, or for a lot of people, it's going to be your best work, because especially if you're maybe not like as an indie artist, but if you're like, a so-called like hot artist, and you get really popular and you're mainstream or whatever, that first album, yeah, maybe it pops, but then it's like all of a sudden you have a label saying, okay, well, you know what, we're gonna release your next album, within the next year. It's like, well, wait a second, motherfucker, like I just spent 6 years working on that first album.
Yeah.
And now you want me to like do all that same work again in like 1 year, and you want it to be just as good, if not better? Like,
Yeah.
that's just not realistic for some artists, Yeah, and I mean, yeah, there's some artists who can do it, who just like follow up good project after good project, But look at someone like, I mean, this is a bad example because Raj doesn't even like this dude. But I was gonna say Kendrick,
Raj, you don't like Kendrick?
He doesn't say he doesn't like him. He says that he thinks he's a little overrated for like how highly people think of him. He didn't say he doesn't like him, but you know, he thinks that it's overstated of what he is. I mean, I personally love Kendrick personally.
That nigga can rap.
You like Kendrick too, Tr3bel?
I get both perspectives.
I understand where he's coming from.
Like,
I just happen to really, really enjoy his music.
Not the greatest.
No, and I think that's fair.
See, I
mean, but that's also like such an easy statement to make.
Didn't he win something
Yes.
for, like, what did he win? He won something for being, it was like a really, really prestigious award. Like, they don't really give it to everybody. I'll have to look it up. It's like a
like the equivalent of like a Nobel Prize kind of thing.
It
Something
was
very exclusive.
Nobel,
like that.
That's what it was.
But he won a Nobel Prize. I didn't even know that. I gotta Google this shit now.
Yeah,
I'm tripping. I feel like I heard that, but
yeah,
he did right now live.
Well, we finna find out. But while we looking that up, I do want to say that I think from the perspective of an artist, it affects how you look at other artists. And it's not even from a cocky perspective. It's just more from a discerning perspective. Like if you play basketball, you look at NBA players a little differently than somebody who doesn't play at all. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not to say somebody isn't good at what they do or that they aren't talented. But at times people can get caught up in it from their perspective because they don't know, you know, like how we know some artists punch all of their lines. And I ain't saying it's Kendrick, but like
have
for
you ever
the
listened to
fans,
his songs? That
say
man
that again.
punching those songs. He
Say
is
that one more time.
absolutely punching those lines.
Yeah.
It's impossible to rap the way that he raps. And I'm not talking about from like a speed thing or anything like that. I mean, just like he switches up his flow like a million ways in all his verses. So it's like, it's literally impossible to do that.
What's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with that. Big Pun did it like every 4 bars. Big Pun.
Pun used to do that. Yeah.
See, but Pun's was.
He have a huge excuse though, because he was.
Yeah, his was different.
He was
like he was so big that nigga needed to take breaths. R.I.P. I ain't trying to be disrespectful, but nah, like his people said that. Like they had to like they said they spent hours trying to take out breaths that he had in it because he had.
You go back and listen, the breaths are still loud as fuck.
So imagine what they were dealing with before.
I think they should have fucking left them, bro, so he could have heard.
That's something that like you pick up on as you start making music and you start audio engineering and like you're used to like maybe cutting out breaths or lowering breaths and stuff like that, and then you listen to an artist like Pun, you're like, Jesus Christ. Like dude was taking some big ass breaths. It was a Pulitzer Prize for Kendrick.
Honestly, like I try to punch it as least as possible. If there's a part that I can't get, like I tried a million times and I can't get it, then I'll consider punching in. But other than that, man, I'm trying to do the whole thing straight through. Because that gives me the most satisfaction. Like, yo, I did
that energy,
and I think it just came out best that way, honestly. But you know, and I think if you're an artist who punches in a lot, you know, I think do it at a certain cadence that it's very consistent in the song or with all your songs. If you're an artist who punches in regularly, you know, at least not let it be like, okay, I generally don't punch in, but like this one song, I'm going to punch in a lot, you know, I mean, maybe you can make it work, but I feel like it's a noticeable difference.
Well, there's a certain satisfaction you get when like you do something all the way through. To me, it's kind of like if I stole the ball at my opponent's court or my court, down at my side, and then I stole it and I ran and I dribbled it all the way back to their side, and I crossed somebody over and I made a layup on them. That's like the equivalent to me of like spitting a verse straight through without having a punch. Like it gives me that type of satisfaction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nah, I feel you, bro.
I did that shit all the way through. Yo, welcome back, guys. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. Chris messed everything up. No, saying it was.
I always do.
It was this connection, but fortunately, we got my man Tr3bel here with the superb memory I smoked way too much weed in my days to have a great memory like his, but he has a great memory like this. So go ahead, Treble. Pick up where you're talking off.
I think when the conversation applies to Treble, I don't think like what you just said can cross over to Treble.
Hey, you already know. We're going to get back to the topic. We go down that path, goddamn. But basically, as I was saying, is like when you hit the studio and you record, especially when you know you've been recording really hard and you've been putting in a hell of a lot of work, you don't necessarily feel like it's the same as winning a Grammy, but it's almost the same as winning a championship in a way. Like you feel this ultimate sense of accomplishment when you know you've put together the best body of work that you can, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of artists now, they know genuinely what they're doing isn't the best body of work that they could offer. So they don't, that's why they're not confident. That's why they're not so excited about the music they made. That's why they don't cherish it. That's why they feel so obligated to have to go constantly put out new music to mask the feeling of the lack of success that they actually felt from their last project. If that makes sense.
I think from an artistic perspective, I think that's one of the best things about doing art is that like other people can kind of like share that sentiment of like, okay, this project is amazing, even if you don't win a Grammy or get the accolades that come along with great work. Where like sports is, for example, is like, it's, you know, you're kind of measured on like, okay, how many championships did you win? Even if you put in a championship effort and you did everything in your ability to succeed, sometimes it just doesn't shake that way, right?
Yeah.
But like when it comes to art, you could put in all that work and make an incredible piece of art, and it just like doesn't really get like the like, you know, mainstream accolades, but people will still look at it and say like, okay, this is amazing.
Yeah, you can't measure it the same way because the way the way the mainstream politics are,
it's very
like,
manipulated.
Exactly. Most of the attribution is not. A lot of it's musically, but a lot of it's not. It's things other than music.
I mean, I had a teacher when I was in college. I had a teacher who was actually on like was part of like the Grammy Association, and he said flat out like, and he wasn't saying it like in a shitty way. He wasn't saying it like in a like he was an older dude, you know. But I don't think he realized the downside in what he was saying. He was saying that, you know, sometimes they will rely on they'll start by like looking at like the charts and saying like, okay, what was the most popular or what sold or whatever, you know, which is not a proper way to do it, honestly. You know, if you're giving out like awards for artistic things, it shouldn't be based on how many units were moved, you know, or just how popular it got on the charts or whatever. It should just be very objective, even while we're talking about something that is subjective. You know, you should be trying to apply some kind of objectivity, you know, to that, you know, just like how good is this?
Definitely.
Yeah, this would be a whole.
That's a whole other episode we could do.
Yes. Yeah.
Trash ass politics in music.
Yeah,
bro.
Award.
I can't wait to put that on the title.
Yeah, but let's. I'm gonna steer things back to our original topic. So, Treble, what's one of your tribute songs?
So I find a song that like really hits it for me is this song called "The Pot" by Tool. I don't know how familiar y'all are with Tool or anything like that, but like Tool is extremely diverse, man. I love heavy guitar riffs, so I'm like almost into any group that got a few of them. You know what I mean? It just give me a different type of energy. Like I like listening to different type of things. I listen to reggae, R&B, but like that heavy metal, them drums and that guitar, man, it just does something for me. And this particular song though is basically just attacking all of the stigmatisms on weed, like all of these different things over the course of years that we get told that we've been put that have been put into, you know, our minds and into the mainstream about this particular thing. There's not too many other things that have that kind of focus on it, if you think about it. Like, you see more don't smoke weed commercials than you see don't do crack commercials, which I find ironic.
Mhm.
You know, it's like, what are we really, what is really the reason for this? You know what I mean? And when you start thinking about those questions, listening to a song like that, it kind of helped me because I burn, you know what I mean? And most of my life, most of my family used to be like, bro, I think you know, you might be headed down the wrong path with that decision. But it's like, really, what is the decision that's headed down the wrong path? Because I know people who smoke who are out there making multi-million dollars. I know people who don't and broke as hell. So what exactly separates those people? The
Yeah,
weed obviously ain't got shit to do with it.
it's really a subjective thing, man. Because like you said, there's really successful people that smoke weed, and people that don't smoke weed that's unsuccessful. There's unsuccessful people that do smoke weed, and you know, vice versa. So it's really, how does weed affect you? You know, me personally, like I could smoke once in a while and enjoy that and do what I do. If I smoked all the time, I wouldn't get shit done. But then it's people with the complete opposite. Like they could smoke all the time and be super productive. Like they could ace a test, high. They could do whatever, high. You know what I mean? So it depends who you are. So
Yeah, nigga, I'm high right now.
no,
I
nobody
wouldn't expect you any other way.
what they should be doing.
Pass it over here, Treble.
I got you. I got you.
I'll turn my fan on real quick.
But you know what's funny about what you just said, like that you don't see ads that are like don't smoke crack, and like maybe crack is something like, okay, maybe it goes without saying that we shouldn't smoke crack, right? But like, okay, there's a lot of exit stops, you know, exit ramps, you know, between smoking weed and smoking crack. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that people can do in between that are worse than weed and aren't quite as bad as crack, you know? And you're right. Like you don't see any ads for like, hey, like don't pop too many pills.
Yeah.
Hey, don't shoot heroin. Hey, don't snort coke. You know, like, like these are all things that are infinitely worse for you than weed. You know. By the way, we don't really talk about how, you know, how bad even, and look, I drink, you know, not a lot, but you know, regularly, you know, here and there, you know, a lot less than I used to for sure. But like, you know, a lot bigger issues that come from people drinking too much than there is from people smoking too much. I'm just saying.
Definitely.
You don't really hear too many stories about the pothead that beat his wife. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You don't hear that story very much. You hear a lot about the alcoholic who beats the shit out of his kids and his wife, you know? Just saying. Sure. So, I mean, that's another heavy topic that we can make a whole other topic that we could do.
And I would like to be included in that topic because I got a lot to say about that one. Roger knows.
I bet if you gave him some weed, he'd be like, "Oh man," he'd instantly be like, "Man, that's all right. Let's go. Let's watch let's watch a movie."
I mean, that's like that's me, honestly. I just had to stop doing that altogether because I fall into like the, you know, what the masses kind of like try to stereotype as potheads. Like when I used to smoke, I would just like veg out and shit. I was not I was not like, some people could be very productive when they smoke, and a lot of respect for all those people, including Treble. I was never one of those people.
No, I'm the same way, bro. That's why I could do it once in a while. But you know, to be productive, I need to be sober.
When I smoke, I get very productive. Like not so much like energized productive. Like I do want to clean a lot and shit like that. But
I always hear people saying that. Like people I know who are like, I clean up the house and you're like organized and stuff. I'm like, what?
Yo, I'd be on some other shit when I'm high, man. Like, man, organizing things in certain ways that I normally wouldn't do. Like, I'll make a post and I'll make it like an essay, like a college essay, like a Facebook post, and I'll be like, it's crazy, dog. But
now I know if I see you post something like crazy long, I'm like, okay, I know what he did tonight.
Yeah, I already know.
I already know when he posts like a long post, something's not right. Something's going
He
on.
gets all like philosophical, and it's like,
Right.
like, whoa, this post is way too long for me to read right now.
he's
Oh,
stoned.
Raj done
Like,
rolled
okay, he was smoking.
Goddamn.
I get creative up here in my mind, and I want to write.
Wait, is that a pen you just held up?
Yeah.
As we're talking about, she's like.
I was like, when I used to smoke and I would be like making beats, I would find myself like totally like kind of zone out, and I'd be listening to like the same loop of the beat for like 30 minutes. I'm just like, what am I doing?
You're so intrigued by that like little loop that
Yeah, like a little loop that I just like totally zone out. I'm like,
but see,
next thing I know, like 30 minutes have gone by. I'm just like, what the?
that's a power, man. That's a power. And see, that's a whole nother like topic.
Yep.
I don't want to get too far down that path, but something that I've learned just in my process with it is like that's a power. Although it can be hard to deal with at first, you can learn how to use that to your advantage to almost bend time to your will.
Yes.
It sounds crazy, but
that ability to focus and zone out on one thing.
Yeah.
Not be in the past, not be in the future, just be completely.
I feel like, but I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. But I feel like it's just from a person to person thing, though, you know, because for me, like at least the way that I like to operate, and anyone who see me like make beats, for example, like they know that totally works against my workflow. Okay. Because I bang out beats, 10, 15 minutes, I just churn them out, and like that totally works against me, and works against like my, against my strengths,
Yeah.
I feel you.
That's why I was just like, you know what? I really can't.
And I need to be like, I like to be like real witty. I like to be an asshole, so like what, not an asshole like that, I like to fuck around, and like when I'm high, like I can't be as witty as I am when I'm sober. Like I'll be like,
you gotta practice.
Wouldn't be like, somebody be dissing me and it'll take me like an hour for a comeback. Like nigga,
you're back home. You're like,
I gotta come
got him.
About to go to sleep at night,
like you're sending a text, like.
Well, Raj, you was there just Friday night though when I freestyled on that set. Like
you was high up. Well,
yeah.
You killed that, bro. I was like, yo, is this a song, bro? Yo,
hey, man.
I thought you made up for that whole thing with the cell phone, bro. I was like, damn, this nigga just.
Yeah, shit happens, but it's crazy because it's like when I first started writing and shit, I could not write high. Like I could not. Like I could listen to beats and get the energy of what I was trying to do while I was high, but I couldn't physically like come up with the cadences and shit like that while I was high. My mind just wouldn't do it. But then it was like after I learned how to meditate, mixing that with it, I then unlocked channels in my brain that helped me concise these separate scenarios and I could process it differently. So like how I process my cadences and my lyrics are totally different. And for a long time, it was hard for me to figure out how to balance that and make the song sound in unison. You know what I mean? And you can go back and listen to my older shit compared to my shit now. Back in the day, it's not that I couldn't rap. It's not that I didn't have the skills. It's just I couldn't quite find the tone, couldn't quite find the melodies that I was really trying to put on that track. And it was like along that path, I ended up unlocking that chapter in my mind, for lack of better words, you know what I mean? But the meditation was the actual key to unlock that part, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a muscle. It's like a muscle. You just everything's a skill. You keep working at it, keep building at it.
Exactly. And everybody got THC in their brain already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cannabinoid receptors that bind with the THC and all that.
You have actual THC in your brain. Every human does. When they testing you for THC intake, they testing you for the levels of THC. There's already an expected level in your body that they know is gonna be there.
I did
So
not.
why is it that something that's already naturally in your body illegal?
That's why I always feel like that. I'm already high.
You can tap into it, yeah. You can tap into it without marijuana, definitely.
And meditation is a big part, bro. Once you get out of your mind, man, out of here and into the moment, like, man,
that's the power.
And that's what weed is so good at, you know. It's just like it's meant for that. Weed is meant to make you more present, but a lot of people end up just abusing it and not like taking the spiritual and the extracting the real usage of it.
Yes.
Take it, and you just end up abusing it and smoking everything, getting high. But all right, let's go back to.
I guess it just means I'm not as smart as Tr3bel.
To Khris, what was your joint, your tribute?
I mean, I gotta go classic, man. Common. I used to love her. So I mean, so,
I was gonna say that one. You stole.
Oh, my bad.
I'm kidding.
Bad.
You don't want to give me that idea. Before we started.
Behind the curtain, we talk about this stuff before the show.
Right.
A little bit.
All right. So why did you choose that one?
Well, I mean, Common's one of my favorite artists, you know, ever, and you know, her in that title, you know, it says hearing every rhyme. So basically, what Common was kind of alluding to in that song is kind of like how hip hop was changing around that time, like in the early '90s, you know, and especially with like the, you know, with like, you know, like the West Coast, like gangster rap, like coming up, you know, he was kind of seeing kind of a shift in hip hop in the way that he viewed hip hop, and it was kind of moving away from what he kind of like fell in love with in the first place, you know. So, you know, it's a dope song. No ID killed that beat. Common is always dope. And then another what's that?
My bad. I don't mean to interrupt you. I just realized how legendary No ID is. I didn't know like No ID. I've been like learning about him. Like, dude's a legend.
Dude, yeah, he's a legend, man. He's been around for a while, and it's like one of those things where it's like,
hey,
I didn't really know his shit like that either, honestly.
He goes back, man, with
the legend, you know. But thing is, he's still like putting out shit. You know, he's still producing like at a high level. You know, which is
just like is it High Tech? No, who's that dude? Man, High Tech. Shit, I forgot this dude's name. But keep going.
High Tech? You mean Tech 9? No.
No, there's a producer.
High Tech is fire. Like he's a fire producer. But that's not who you're talking about, though.
Nah, it completely slipped my mind. His name. Well, it'll come to me later.
But the other thing I was gonna say about I Used to Love Her is that, like, I don't know when, it was probably sometime in the last like 10 years. Murs did like kind of like a cover of I Used to Love Her. Like him and Ninth Wonder redid the original Common joint. I think he redid. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember how the beat is, but I'm pretty sure that he sampled the same beat. He like he didn't remake the same beat, but I think he made a beat with the same sample. He might have just made a whole new beat if I'm not. I honestly don't know. I'd have to go back and check it out again. But it's pretty dope, honestly. You know, to kind of see like a song that's a tribute to hip hop, and like, you know, in the form that you kind of fell in love with it. But then, you know, to see another artist, you know, like 20 years later, let's just say, kind of reinvent that same concept, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think the Murs one's actually called I Used to Love Her Again. Something like that. So it's pretty dope.
Yeah, man. I love that feeling, bro. And I think that's what we as artists who care about the true art are trying to bring back. The overall brotherhood of the music, you know what I mean? The overall camaraderie of us. Like, you used to have legitimate hip hop artists who were sitting there talking at congressional meetings and things like that. Like, Now it's like you gonna be like, hey, go get Lil Baby, go get Young Thug, and we finna put them up there. It's just, and it's not even a disrespect to them individually. The truth is, if you ask them, they wouldn't even want to be in that position.
Right.
And I think that's the mindset that we used to have unilaterally. Like everybody wanted to be somebody who could speak on behalf of the people in some way.
You kind of took the words out of my mouth, man. Because honestly, like you look at like hip hop, like in the '80s and into the early '90s, a lot of those artists, at that time, a lot of it was about like educating other Black people or Hispanic, whatever, all people really,
Yes.
and uplifting your own people.
Yeah.
Where
Yes.
now I don't think they give a fuck, honestly. And we're not going to see like those. You aren't going to see those results. You don't really see the effects of that until like a few years after the fact.
Yeah.
Because I think, man, what was the statistic I read that like African American enrollment in colleges, I think went up by like 400% or something like that from like 1987 to like 1992. If you're gonna tell me that like hip hop does not play a role in that to some degree, you're a goddamn liar.
Yo, hip hop is the most powerful force.
It's such a powerful force, and people saying,
bro. Hip hop.
Yeah, in a way, hip hop kind of made it cool to be like, you know what? Let me educate myself on a lot of these fucking issues.
Yeah, bro.
Yes.
I'm not gonna just be fucking like held down by the powers that be. I'm gonna elevate myself.
Yes.
Shout out to Raj Elevate.
Yeah, Raj Elevate.
You know that. And like, yo,
Elevated podcast.
Hip hop affects every avenue of the world. Like, people don't understand how, bro. If look for Nelly and his Air Force One song, right? He made that song, Get the Stomping in My Air Force One. Dude, their sales went up fucking bananas, 100,000%, bro.
You want to see my what?
Yes.
Get stomping in my what? Like, dude, that's like Gucci. That's why like these people like Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana, like they rely on hip hop so much for their branding and for revenue, because they understand like hip hop is the most powerful force in the world.
And see, you touched on something that I think is down the alley of who I represent individually as an artist. I'm trying to be that nigga to get everybody to realize, like, bro, they need you.
Facts.
Like, it can't be multi-million-dollar industries if you say no.
Facts.
Nas talks about that shit. I think I can't remember the name of the song, but he's like, what's the line? He was marketing companies are hiring Blacks, fresh hip hop lingo for your campaign ads.
Yes.
Like, they just, like if people realize how much these companies rely on you, like the power is really with people and not with the way that we've been kind of molded to think it is.
Yeah. I learned in psychology, it's called the bystander effect. Like, if you get mugged in the alley and there's one or two people there, you have a higher probability of one of them helping you than if you're getting mugged in the alley and 20 people are standing there. It's a crazy dynamic, but all of those 20 people, they generally take the mindset that, okay, one of us will do something. One of those other people will do something.
Right, but if there's less people, it's more pressure or more influence to do something.
Yeah, it calls more on your integrity. When there's more people.
Oh, right.
You feel more comfortable putting it on somebody else. You can tell yourself, well, maybe I wasn't qualified to do it. Maybe this other person was more qualified to do it, and they still.
Maybe there's somebody bigger, somebody that knows jiu-jitsu or karate or something like that.
Come on, maybe that guy over there trained boxing in his spare time, and he should have did something. And it's easier to develop that mindset, and you translate that bystander mindset to music and what we look at. I ask kids all of the time, why do you like this artist? And they legitimately tell me they don't know.
Yeah, just because it's entertaining and probably and that's what everybody else likes.
But you know what?
That's what everybody else likes.
That's what it is. So they feel left out.
But sometimes it's like you remember Lupe made a song Dumb It Down.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he kind of predicted a lot of this shit with that. And you know what? And it was like that when he dropped the song, but it just gotten worse, honestly. And I'll never forget this because I was working, this is years ago. I was bartending, right? And it was like a pool bar. So, there was like a couple there and they had like their like teenage son with them, right? And I don't know how we got in a conversation of music, but we started talking about hip hop, right? And the teenage son is like into hip hop, right? And I was like, oh, so he was asking me like, oh, like what artists do I like? I was like, well, I like a lot of older artists that you might not really, really listen to. To be honest with you, I listen to like Nas and I started naming some artists. I was like, in terms of like newer artists, I like Kendrick, I like J. Cole, whatever. I was naming some people, and he's like, oh, Kendrick's overrated. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And I'm like, well, who do you like? And he's like, Kodak Black. And I'm like, you can't really tell me like you think this one dude's like overrated, but then you like Kodak. Like, don't get me wrong, I like some Kodak songs, but like
the reality,
man, like that's just like, and I know I can see like based on what we're talking about right now, you can kind of see what's happening there. Kendrick is like over this kid's head. Yes. So he's like, that's just ridiculous and stupid, and he's just saying a lot of big words and just rapping fast and like whatever, you know. But I understand what Kodak is saying.
Yes.
That doesn't make it like good just because you understand it.
that Nick, if that's not the nail in the coffin right there on that conversation, so that shit plays on so much things that you just said in that whole conversation. We'll take it back to Lupe real quick, and we'll bring up another tribute song real quick if that's okay from Lupe that this brings into mind. I don't know if y'all have ever heard the song called Bad Bitch.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Woman Good.
That song is so powerful to me because he's telling you she's a fucking actor. She's an actress. She's just a woman in a music video, baby. Why are you looking up to her? Her whole life is to be an actor or an actress. Like 90% of these guys, I was just watching a video earlier, all these rappers who owe all of these exuberant amount of money back to the jewelers that they get these damn chains and watches from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, is it really cool for you to look up to this guy because you understand what he's saying and he's talking a lot of money, but he still owed his jewelry shop $400,000? Wow. It's like we've gotten to the era to where they don't think about that aspect because the only thing they can think about is the fact that this artist raps on the level that they currently think on, and it makes it easier to stay on that level.
Yeah, well, I mean, I still think Kendrick's overrated, but back to your point though, like
he was like could not help but like get back to that.
But in the same topic though, you don't think Kodak Black is like that dude either.
But yeah, exactly. You're not sitting there saying, well, Kendrick's overrated, but Kodak is fire.
Kendrick's way better than Kodak Black. I'd say
exactly. Then that's my point. Like, okay, you could say that. You could say Kendrick's. You could say whatever. You could say whatever you want. But like, don't sit there and be like, oh man, the Patriots suck, but it's all about those Lions.
No, I definitely no.
Like,
Kendrick,
nah, bro. Like, you don't watch too much football, huh?
I think he's dope as shit, but just as far as like a whole, he's definitely not what I feel he's projected as.
That's fine though. Like that's actually a well formulated opinion. That's fine. Like you can have it based on that, and you have your more in depth reasons for that, But it would be like foolish for you to be like, man, I don't like Kendrick. He's kind of overrated. But Slim Thug though, he's dope.
I have to go get my wine because you made me mad about Kendrick.
And Slim Thug's not terrible, He's like, what was it? I remember my boy just incredible. He made a comment. He's like, I can't tell if he's just like a kind of like a whack good artist or he's like a good whack artist. Like I can't tell. Like he's somewhere in there. Like he's like not terrible, but he's like not great,
Yes.
And there's a lot of artists that kind of fall into that pocket.
I used to listen to Slim Thug.
Great, like, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I used to listen to Slim Thug too. There's a song by him that I completely forgot that
But he's not a bad rapper.
No.
Like he's not a
he's
bad
not.
rapper. And
No.
like he just kind of like his music, just kind of like.
It's just never fully hit.
Yeah, it doesn't really hit like that, you know.
Y'all know Toby Nwigwe, right?
Yeah.
Is he he's not. He's from the South, but like
He's from Houston, right?
yeah.
I'm not. I'll just say this. I'm familiar with him. Now, I'll put him in that category that you put Kendrick in. I think he's dope, but I think he got a lot of hype that's a little...
Who are you talking about?
I can't pronounce his last name.
Nwigwe.
What's his name?
Toby Nwigwe.
Nwigwe.
Nwigwe?
Nwigwe.
I know the artist you're referring to, definitely.
I have no idea.
And I do think he's talented, but...
Didn't he play for the Mavericks? I swear on my computer sounds like you're saying Dirk Nowitzki.
Why you gotta say that when I'm trying to take a drink?
My bad.
Tall enough, but now he used to play football or college football or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know who you're talking about, to be honest.
Yeah, look him up.
You've seen him before. I'm pretty sure you've seen him before.
Yeah, he's big. He's big.
Yeah, like he's shit. He got songs with Black Thought, Royce the 5'9". Like he got songs with everybody.
Paul Wall.
Okay. Who is this? Who is it? Say it again.
Toby Tobe. Then last name is Nwigwe N Nancy WE. And I don't know. You got to figure out the rest yourself.
Yeah, he gonna pop up now. Like he popping right now. He got a song with Paul Wall.
Yeah, dude. You got
and it's hard.
You got a lot of heavy hitters. But that's like down south rap like that. I like that shit. Cause like dude's lyrical with it. But you can still tell he has that southern twang.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
See, I told you.
I don't know how to say that name though. I had no idea who you were talking about. I honestly had no idea what you were saying.
No, wait.
I was like, Nowitzki? That's all I'm hearing.
Dirk?
Like, oh, Dirk is rapping now, huh?
Y'all will have to educate me on some of these rappers that I don't know. I need to learn about them.
There's only 2 rappers you need to know: Raj Elevate and Tr3bel. What you need to know about is Chris Audio. That's all you need to know. Don't need to know anybody else.
Perfect response to that. Since we've at least mentioned one tribute each. So, do you have anything on that?
I have 3 actually.
Okay, why don't we do this? Before you say your 3? Raj, because I know we've been running for a while now, but why don't we go kind of like rapid fire? And if you want to make a comment about any of them, cool. We can kind of chime in.
But we just go around and say.
Yeah, kind of go around. So Cybil, say your 3.
Okay.
And maybe like Raj, you say one more. Tr3bel, you say one more. I'll say another one, and we'll kind of see where we go from there, and then maybe wrap it up.
Well, with Tr3bel, so let Tr3bel go next because I'm still trying to figure out who I want to say.
Well, you don't want Cybil to say?
You don't want me to say that?
No,
why are you just gonna leapfrog your secretary, bro?
Today it's secretary. Usually it's assistant. Today it's secretary.
They're they're not the same thing. All right, you like assistant better? The assistant.
I do.
I think assistant sounds better.
Yeah, assistant.
Why you treat her like that?
I feel like a magician. Like magicians got assistants.
Cybil, if you think it's a very a hostile work environment, you could be my assistant instead.
Shut the fuck up.
I'll pay you double what he's paying you.
Sometimes dealing with him is a hostile work environment.
Oh, come on.
Hey, you gotta be on point, Raj. Come on now.
Come on, man. She's gonna report you. I'm gonna report you to the Better Business Bureau.
Hey, don't make
HR finna get a call.
I witnessed him berating his employee.
He called her secretary.
Right.
Belittling her.
My secretary.
Verbal abuse.
She said she didn't like being called secretary. And
put some respect on her assistant name.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got
Tr3bel.
you.
Don't be trying to steal my assistant, yo.
Hey, man, I share everybody's shit, but yours the most, Raj, you know. I'm a good social media assistant.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Okay, can I say one of mine, or do you want somebody else to say theirs?
You can go. Why don't you start?
Go ahead.
You want me to say all 3 at one time, or just one?
Why don't you say one, and then we'll kind of go around and say one each then.
Okay. I have Missing You by Diana Ross.
Oh, you went throwback. Huh?
Throwback.
Okay.
Not hip hop,
It's not hip hop, but it's cool. It's classic.
but it's throwback. She wrote it about Marvin Gaye.
Not hip hop either. So
Yep. She wrote it about Marvin Gaye, and that's one of my favorites.
okay.
Wait, hold on.
Hey,
Go
Ron.
back. She wrote that about Marvin Gaye?
She did. It was a tribute to Marvin Gaye.
Huh. I didn't know that. I have to listen to it again.
That song.
That's a true classic right there.
It is a classic.
Yeah, I just learned something new.
Rod's turned off his microphone for some reason. I guess he does. I guess he's sitting there like doing research or something.
Oh
He's staring out his window.
It looks like he's staring out a real window. Anyone who's just like listening, if anyone's just like listening, like on a podcast, he has a background that looks like it's a Microsoft Paint background, but it's like a fake window to his side. I don't know if he's actually looking out a window.
He's just looking out of it in deep thought.
Somebody try
Look at the
get
birds
my
out
attention
there.
outside,
I'm talking
man.
about the way I talk to my assistant.
Somebody try and get my attention.
Apparently, someone's like knocking on your window over there, like
Right.
Knocking on my window.
It's your Sims neighbor. They're coming over to introduce themselves. The Sims.
So who wants to go next, Tr3bel or Raj? Or Raj, you're still thinking?
That's why he was looking out the window.
Right.
He's daydreaming.
All right, well, I'll go real quick. A tribute song for me, I like, y'all probably gonna laugh when I say this is a tribute song, because it's like really not, but it's like really important in my hip hop history. Give Me the Loot by Biggie. And the main reason is because Buddy literally flows a perfect story from two different perspectives. Like, he raps from his own conscience and from the perspective of himself. That's pretty freaking dope. Like, and it's like, although I will say the lyrics can be a bit rough around the edges in that song in particular, it's still like the concept to be able to do that. Like, I think it resonates with me because most artists can't do shit like that now. Yeah. Like, you can't, like, they don't have the creative depth to do anything like that. It's like the only thing they know how to do is to go in there, rap a 16 and go home, you know? And it's like with Biggie, you got a whole story, like, and you can physically fucking see what he's talking about when he's spitting this shit, you know what I mean? And that shit's dope to me.
I guess I hadn't really thought about that as a tribute song.
So
that's really like that, but
that's a good segue. That's a good segue to mine's, because mine actually has to do with Biggie, and it's this one is, we all know. I'm pretty sure everybody out there knows.
You're gonna take my idea right now. I know you are.
I'll be missing you.
I actually like, you know what's funny about
I'll be missing
that, like, of course that's a classic, you know, everyone, knows that song, you know?
Ideas.
But I actually like We'll Always Love Big Papa by the Lox.
Mm-hmm.
See, I haven't heard that one.
Oh, come on. That's dope, man.
I'm gonna check it out right now.
It was the Lox, right? I'm not going crazy right now, right?
What's it?
In my old age.
Chris, which one did you just say?
I mean, I was just piggybacking what you just said. We'll always love Big Papa.
I mean, I know the Lox very well. That's just the one that I guess slipped by me. I was a jit.
Yeah, it's the Lox. Yeah, I don't know why I was like second guessing myself.
Nah, you know what you're talking about.
Usually, but I'm old now, bro.
About 40%.
Man.
Nah, actually, I was gonna say another tribute, but I'm gonna say two, only because they're on the same album, and they're both from Kanye West's Graduation. So Kanye has a song called Homecoming, which is about Chicago, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm thinking about it, that kind of ties into my first tribute song, because he starts off the joint Homecoming with I met this girl when I was 10 years old or whatever age he says, which is exactly how Common starts the other joint and how Murs starts the other joint. So I wasn't even thinking about that until right now. Just realized that that he does it the same way.
Kanye pays a lot of
homage. It's almost like a
to
double
hip-hop
tribute, because he's using like a tribute, the start of a tribute song to like a different type of tribute. So that's pretty dope. Homecoming's a nice song, man. That's a really, really dope song. And then the other one, of course, is Big Brother.
Of course, I knew you were gonna say that.
Jay-Z, which like people like talk about how he spazzed on that song. I don't really see that song in like that kind of way. We're like, oh my god, he spazzed lyrically, but the song's dope, and it's kind of cool to see like an artist. He kind of said, I think he said it in the song. It's dope for like somebody of like that stature to like to give that credit to someone else of their stature, especially of that stature, like while they're still alive. They always say, people don't ever get give people the roses while they could smell them, but so it's cool that he's like, making that joint like on his third album instead of like waiting to like his 10th album or whatever to like, give Jay-Z's credit for like, doing what he did for his career, because let's be honest, it wasn't for Jay-Z, Kanye probably doesn't become Kanye,
Yes.
No, definitely doesn't. Same thing.
He definitely doesn't. Like he probably would have gotten signed to some label and had some kind of success because the dude is talented, obviously. But I don't think it would have like exploded to the way that it did,
Yeah.
I mean, just look at Watch the Throne. You know what I mean? We would have never had to Watch the Throne if that was the case.
What is that? What is that?
Someone using a paper shredder?
Yeah, apparently. Hold on a second.
Or a pencil sharpener?
I don't even have a pencil sharpener or a paper shredder.
It sounded like some type of paper shredder or something like that.
That's what it sounded like.
Maybe the Sims.
Oh, that's why Raj is using the fake background. You're on the toilet.
You got me. You got me. I'm taking a dump right now.
Got you. I got you.
I'm taking a dump. All right, Cybil.
Brown-handed.
I'm already brown.
But
I wasn't even doing that. I was just saying.
The song
I'm 5 years old, bro. I got 5-year-old humor. I was making a poop joke.
Joke.
Your baby's rubbing off on you.
Yeah, you could say that.
I know you sit and tell her.
At least you already got me back to watching Disney movies.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That might not be a bad thing, though.
There's an artist that sings a song. I was piggybacking off what he said about Kanye, about the flowers. I'm gonna find it right now because I wrote it in here, but it's an artist I never even really heard of, but somebody turned me on to him. It was basically something about don't wait until they're dead to give them flowers. Give them flowers while they're still alive. Like, basically.
You remember who sang it? You don't remember the artist?
I can find it really quick.
Or do you remember like what genre it was?
It's rap. It's hip hop.
Damn,
or hip hop, I guess.
Hey, y'all can hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My shit, I done unmuted it 30 minutes ago. That bit was still just muted.
He was using his paper shredder.
I had to delete those secret files.
My name's Chris Audio. That's at Chris Audio, KHRIS Audio on Instagram or on Twitter. Holla at me.
Holla.
SoundbreakingMusicLLC.com. RespectTheCulture.org. SoulAddicted.com. ChrisAudio.bandcamp.com. Look me up. I'm on every streaming platform. I'm coming to a city near you in like 3 years when things are normal again. Not now.
Disclaimer.
Consider 3 years soon.
Come see me. That's all I want to know.
Hey. Man, it's been great being on here again with y'all, man. It's always a good time. We always dive into some topics. We always dive off the topic, but get back to the topic
go with the flow, man. It's always a pleasure having you on. And I know this ain't going to be the last time because I'm going to make Chris bring you on.
I wasn't even ending the episode. I was just trying to kill time until she finds the song.
Oh. Got me, goddamn.
I was just trying to kill time. I was like, since we got some downtime, I'm going to promote myself.
I'm gonna find
Yeah,
it.
man. It's about that time for me to get out of here anyways. I got them old folks hours now.
Old folks hours.
Got that baby
But
like.
what's the song? Now I'm
Yo,
curious.
that just hit me. Both y'all got newborn. Well, Trebles ain't really newborn, 1 year old, but y'all
I
both
mean,
got,
she's like a year old though, right?
yeah.
Correct.
Both
I
of
mean,
y'all
that's
got
little.
toddlers.
That's little, man.
Both of y'all got toddlers, man, and shit.
Yes.
I'm the only one like with no kid, man. Damn.
Hey, it's a blessing, but you ain't missing the sleep. Get your sleep now.
Get your sleep.
Get
Yeah.
it now.
You
Ain't
got
gonna
time,
happen
bro.
much more
You
after
got
that
time.
baby
You got
Okay,
come.
here
time,
we
man.
go. I found it.
I'll give myself till 35 to have a kid. If not, then I'm
Go
bald.
figure. I had a kid at 35.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, y'all niggas waited, boy.
Chell, I started early.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, go.
All
Drop
right.
it. Drop the ball.
Okay. The lyric says, "Give them flowers while they still can smell them. If there is a certain way inside your heart you feel, then tell them. Never hesitate to say it. Do it when you can. Don't put no flowers on no casket. Put them in their hand." K Reno.
K Rhino.
K Rhino's fire.
Okay, Rhino.
He's
That's
a,
how you say it, Rhino.
yeah, that's one of that's one of my favorite underground artists right there. He's a
Yeah, he's fire.
beast. Yeah,
Yeah,
lyrically,
that was it.
he's a
That was
beast.
one of them.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's one of the best lyricists like ever.
Hands down.
I just found out about him. Somebody just told me about him. I was like, wow, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, go ahead, Treble. I know you gotta dip out soon.
How people find you, bro?
Huh?
I know you were gonna chime in. I thought you were gonna like promote yourself.
Nah, I was just gonna say, man, last thing, piggybacking off of what she said, like it's definitely a blessing to hear people actually respect you and tell you how they respect you. Are you still alive? Like, I think the biggest fear that everybody has is busting their ass and dying, and then 20 years later, everybody's like, "Oh, this was the greatest thing ever." You know what I mean? And they never acknowledged that while they were there. You know, that has to suck.
Right.
Absolutely. No, I think that it's a society. I think we do that a little too much. To be
Yeah,
honest with you,
definitely.
especially when it comes to like, you know, especially like our legends, whether it's musically or sports or whatever, any other like well-known figures. And if you take it down even to like a micro level, like even in our own lives, like you know, you know, I read this quote a long time ago that was just like never miss out an opportunity to tell someone that you love them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it's true. I mean, maybe it's a little overstated, but like what's the harm? You know what I
Yo,
mean?
I love
Yeah.
y'all. I love all.
Yeah, yeah. I love you too.
Love you too, bro.
Right.
I love you. I love all of you.
But
You
yo,
We love
Definitely.
you
It's
too.
all love.
that's what came to my mind when you started. As soon as you said, it, I was like, yo, it's like that on every level. Like families don't get together. Well, I know now it's different with COVID, but even before COVID, families didn't get together unless it was a wedding
Also,
or
yeah,
or a
Or a funeral.
I was
funeral.
gonna say, yeah, like I was gonna say, like there was somebody in my family passed away years ago, it was like a grandparent. It was probably like 15 years ago or whatever. And I remember like my cousin made a comment, like it's kind of sad that like it takes something like this for all of us to like get together, you know?
Yeah.
right.
Like, let's try to actually like do this without it being on the heels of a death,
Yeah,
you know?
Yes.
yeah.
And we're so bad at doing that because we get so consumed with all of
With
our
our
personal
lives,
shit, you
what's
know?
going on with us, and what's going on? Like, oh, I got a problem with my cousin's girlfriend, or like I don't
Yeah,
like
petty
my
shit.
uncle. You know what I mean?
Petty, and at the end of the day, it's all petty stuff, and it's just like, how are we gonna let minor things like get in the way of family or whatever, and it's like it shouldn't be like that,
Yo, when I started,
we gotta be better.
when I think about petty shit, yo, this is what I remind myself. I say, yo, I'm 32 right now. The average lifespan is maybe what 80, 85. Like
No,
I
you're
really
it's
don't have
77.
in 100 years, none of us is gonna be here. I don't have that much time on this earth. Like, why am I focused on this petty shit right now? Why am I focused on, oh, that nigga probably said this about me, or like
Oh, I needed to hear that.
my ex is doing
Yeah.
this, or like whatever. Like, yo,
I
we're
really
not
need to
here
hear
for that long. We're a blink in existence. We're like that. we're gonna blink and boom.
Yeah, rise above, rise above.
Because people hate, and then they see, like, even me, I'm not, like, I'm not a big, I don't rap. I write, but I don't rap or anything like that, but I help him out. So people see that and they're like, oh, what's she doing? Like, and they hate on me, you know what I mean? She's never going to go anywhere with that. They try to discourage.
Yeah. It's easier to cut your wings off than watch the person actually fly over you and you still on the ground,
Yeah.
Right.
But
Facts.
yeah, so man, like I said before, it was dope being on here with y'all, man. It was great. We always have amazing conversations. I appreciate y'all having me on. To all of the people who listening, y'all can get at me at the Jetpack Hero on all social media platforms. You just type that in, your boy will pop up. You type that Tr3bel in Google, and all my music will be right at your disposal. And I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast, man.
You got the EP coming. Yo, you got a name for it yet, Trev, or not yet?
For what?
For the EP.
Yes, The Pressure. That's the name.
Oh, yeah, you just say that. Yeah, y'all. We'll look out for The Pressure. No set date yet, because we don't want to put no pressure on ourselves. So make sure you follow my man Tr3bel.
I just want to surprise everybody, man.
Yeah. Make sure you follow Elevated Audio Podcast on IG, Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube, leave comments, let us know what you want to talk about. On a personal level, Roj Elevate, ROJELEV8 is in a number. Sign up for the email list and get a free song at rojelevate.com, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that. Working on the Chakra Therapy EP or Chakra Therapy EP, set to drop. No set date, because I don't want to put that pressure on myself.
Hey, smart man.
So it will come when it comes.
Cybil, what are you promoting?
Well, him.
Oh, me.
Yeah, my Instagram is Cyb410. Everything's Cyb410.
How do you spell that?
CYB 410, as in the numbers.
All right.
And I'm already following you, Tr3bel. I don't know if you're following me, but I'm already following you.
I'm gonna get on you right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to just put I like to share a lot of people's stuff, especially independent artists. I like to do that. So I'll be sharing.
All right, I
sharing things, putting people out there, putting their music out there. But I have to go for my main man first. He comes first.
Of course.
Understood.
Because you're his assistant, not secretary.
Exactly.
Yes.
Remember that, Raj.
That still has high caliber to it, though. Secretary, that's still a good, prestigious position.
It sure is, because
I think you should give her executive assistant as the title.
Ooh.
I mean, she the only one. She got to be the executive.
Exactly.
Ooh, the executive assistant. I like.
There you go. You're promoted. Yeah, executive assistant.
I mean, just be careful, Raj. You got to be careful, though. She puts that on her resume. That's it. Like that's it. Like she puts that resume on Indeed. Like, oh, she's got executive assistant experience.
She's gonna have Interscope in her inbox. Like
that's what I'm saying, man. You're gonna lose out on her. Like you better be ready to give her a raise.
I'm already on LinkedIn. I already got my personal assistant stuff.
I got her under contract. She's under contract, y'all. You got
okay, gotcha. Okay.
I didn't sign no contract. I don't know.
Cybil, you're not supposed to say that.
You finna catch a lawsuit real swift, bro.
I gotta teach you how to be on here.
Oh shit.
You will. I'll learn. I'm still learning.
You're good. You're good.
Thank you.
Audio, what you got? What you got for us?
Soundbreaking Music, LLC.com. Chris Audio on everywhere. KHRIS Audio. Clothing line, Respect the Culture, respecttheculture.org.
The clothing line.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I've got all my entire catalog on Bandcamp, chrisaudio.bandcamp.com. You can find that through my website too. But I've got some other stuff that I'm working on that I really don't want to divulge too much information right now. Maybe a project or two that are kind of in the works behind the scenes. I don't want to give out too much information.
A lot of work being done.
Definitely some stuff, some stuff happening. So I can't wait. I can't wait to release some of it.
Word up.
Great.
Well, there y'all have it. Our 11th episode of the Elevated Audio Podcast. Thank you to my guests. It was a pleasure having y'all. Thank y'all
Thanks
out
for having
tuning
me.
in.
So
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Peace.
appreciate you, man.